Good morning, everybody. It's Christian from Australian Education with the 4 Majors Analysis update for the 1st of April 2011. Just looking at the chart of Euro against US dollar on our CTC strategy template. I'm going to bring up the daily time frame. Still an uptrend for this pair. 20 period moving average still acting as a great support as this pair moves to the upside after breaking through the 1400 barrier not too long ago. And we've seen a swing to the upside. And yesterday's candle we saw price move within shooting distance of the 14,2500 mark. And then during the latter part of the day, the US session, we saw price revert back to the downside. News out last night was that they did some Irish banks stress testing yesterday, and the banks apparently need another 30 odd billion pounds worth of rescue money from the European banks, well, lending, and we're looking at a total amount roughly in the region of about 70 billion pounds now, if that's proved. And what we're seeing is euro on the Asian markets trading slightly higher, not a hell of a lot, inching its way up. You can see the candles since the bounce at 1400 haven't been as spectacular as previously, but tentatively moving upside. And I think a lot of people out there will be scratching their heads wondering how or where the euro is finding this upside movement, especially when there was talk of the inflation that came out yesterday, slightly higher than expected for this time of the year. 2.6% inflation rose, and the same with the Irish now, holding out their hands and begging for more cash to save their banks. But 1425 is the resistance level, and as long as it doesn't break above 1425, then we could see this trend fall over. But as long as it's still trading above the 20 period moving average and above this trend line, then we should be looking for further opportunities to the upside. Our first target, if we can use the 14, if I'm not mistaken, use 1500 as our support level. As long as it trades above that level, then we should be looking at that as a support intraday. And if euro can stay above this, then obviously we should be still looking for the upside momentum, as CTC is still governing the upside. Intraday, however, very messy. Our 4 hour looks like it's been hit by a bus. But you'll notice on an hourly, for example, that after hitting attempting the 1425 mark, we've seen price pull back, and subsequently, because we've done that, we've got lower swings. And as we speak, we're seeing price testing a swing low on an hourly chart. So get ready. We could see a bit of a movement soon, and hopefully with the swing low, then obviously we see something to the downside. It is now testing the underside of a previous support area, in this case the 14,1800 mark, and if it fails to break above this level, then obviously this is going to be now classified as resistance, and we should see price revert to the downside again. CTC, however, for this time frame is still bullish. Remember, we're still on a very bullish uptrend, so wait for we now have a red arrow. The candlesticks have gone blue, but ultimately we still don't have any indication of further selling for this. We've got to wait for a nice bearish down candle. Our daily trading below this low here that we saw in the Asian market. Always got to trade below the Asian market low, confirming that the trend is now down. So got to be looking for close lower than at least 1415, 1.4155 at least. Okay, and then if everything goes according to plan, you can see the swing is around there somewhere. Swing high, swing high, swing high, swing high. And if it breaks below the 1450, 155 mark, then we could be looking at roughly the 1411 mark to start with as our first destination. But as it stands, it's still to the upside. If it can still stay above that area, then we should be looking for further longs. Remember what I said on a daily? Still saying above 14.15, should still be looking for longs. So 14.15 is this area here. So as long as it stays above it, there we go. We should still be looking for opportunities to the upside. Slight consolidation during the Asian market training. You can see that the lower I go, a 30-minute for example, you can still add that 14.15 mark in. Very important. Got to stay above that going into the US session today. And if that continues, then you can see we can get lower swings. Oops, apologies. Don't mind that one. You want more touches. Then we should be looking for possible squeeze breakout and find support at 14.15. Then we could see price bounce to the upside again. CTC is in the favor for longs. So if we have a break and close lower than 14.15, then we should be looking for shorting opportunities to at least 14.11 in the direction of the trend. Hey guys, I'll be back next with the sterling against US. Next up is sterling against US dollar. Daily time frame. Yesterday started very positive for this pair. Just remember that 1600 is our long-term support and resistance level. As long as price is trading above 1600, then CTC as well as trend, we just see a consolidation and we should see further upside movement. Failure to break or trade higher than, or keep trading higher than 1600, and we saw a break lower than the 1600, should confirm that we're going into a negative trend now, because it's broken a long-term support area. You notice this, since resistance we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days, or 11 attempts or occasions where we've seen price bounce on 1600. The momentum at the moment now, just recently, hasn't been all that great. I mean, we've seen definite bounces to the upside every single other time it's bounced on the 1600. But the thing that really worries me is the fact that we're seeing price coming back to this 1600 level far too often recently. If sterling was as bullish as it was meant, then we should have seen at least price revert to the upside on at least the second attempt of the 1600 way back. And you can see that ever since we broke that trend over here, all we've seen is price. See, that's the bounce to the upside. We've seen price revert and attempt and still fail to break higher, and we're down to the bottom again. Is not all that good. Momentum wise, you can see it's starting to shift now. You can see that we're getting the squeeze. Price isn't as bullish as it was. You can see price action is starting to fall over, and it's starting to lend that we possibly going to see. I got a funny feeling that we might see a break of 1600. Let's see what happens with the market. But this over here, this long wick over here, is confirming that momentum drive isn't great. In order for this to cancel this negative candle that we saw yesterday, we want to see price reverting to the upside. But I can't help stop thinking that a stress test and the whole thing, this whole euro background, I think it's going to start reflecting somewhere. It's going to start having this knock-on effect. But yeah, if this is to continue being bullish, then CTC has to remain blue, and you know the sterling's got to have to find another reason why not to break below 1600 again. And if we're seeing it fall again, then it's quite, you can see momentum is kind of stagnated. Well, it's not that, it's just fallen. It's just non-existent. And if price can't rally higher, then we're going to see price just falling over, and it's just going to lend to this whole feeling that price has now moved from being quite bullish to start with to being very hesitant, indecisive. Hence the reason why we've come back to the 1600 level quite a few times in the past, and then it's just going to let go, and we're going to see a break lower. If that happens, then I think we're going to be looking at possibly down, well, the first one at 15.8500 mark, because we've seen a lot of resistance and support in that area, and then further falls or drops to at least 15.6500, and then ultimately all the way down here to areas that we saw back in late December of last year at 15.3500. So key area is the 1600. It's been a very strong support area for so long, for most of this year. If 1600 cannot help price, then all we're going to see is fall to the downside. So intraday, you can see that we've seen a steady fall, and then price has failed to rally that significantly after hitting 1600. We have seen a bit of upside movements, but it's not all that convincing. We've had a lower swing from a high, and we're now testing the 50 period. As long as this pair needs to be trading well above 1608, excuse me, for this to be considered bullish, it needs to trade higher than all that negative candle we saw yesterday. Otherwise, it looks like there's bearish incentive creeping into the market for this pair. So you can see noticeably the swings to the upside. Swing high, that swing is still higher than that. So we're still going, but it's not as convincing. This should have been far higher. So you can see that momentum there's definitely a momentum shift somewhere in this, and I cannot help thinking if we don't see price bounce off quite firmly, then I think we could see a break of 1600. CTC is still strong for the lower patterns, time frames, excuse me. Definitely a bounce. Just before, you can see there's definitely a bounce here. Support, and we've now taken off to the upside. Looks at, and the CTC is still positive. Ideally, we want to be it's trading well above the Asian market. Well, the higher now that we're seeing now, but it needs to be trading well above 1608 to cancel that negative momentum we saw yesterday, and to take it higher, at least to start with. The same with all the smaller time frames. I'd rather sit back and get a definite signal. If it's trading lower than this bounce over here, then obviously we're looking at definitely a bearish indication of further selling, and 1600 will definitely be reattempted soon. But as it stands now, we've seen a nice bounce to the upside. It's now working its way up to a prior resistance of 160800, and the swing is higher. We had higher swings on this time frame, the 15 minute. So as it stands now, we can just draw a trend line in. You can see it's quite steep, and as long as it's trading on that side of the trend line for the 15 minute, then we should see further upside movement. However, just be careful, we could be coming close to this squeeze, and we could see price revert. Next up is the US dollar Swiss franc. A lot of indecision the past 2 days. We've had a very bearish candlestick or exhaustion candle. All this is happening roughly at previous support area, and we've had, what's it now? I'm just trying to think now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and it's going to the 6th day now where we've had resistance at a significant area. Is it going to continue? And I mentioned that as long as we find resistance over here, then there's likelihood that we could see price just revert to the downside because of the fact that we're trading short for this pair. It's playing games with the 20 period moving average as we speak, but it's found resistance definitely for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and going into its 6th day today. The Asian market hasn't really taken much, and going into the European session open, we're seeing it trading slightly tentatively higher, but not all that convincing. It definitely needs to break bullish higher than this resistance level here, and I think the resistance level, if I can say, is roughly around the 0.920 mark. Okay, so just make a note of that. But ideally, there's also another resistance level at 0.92500. So there's definitely resistance. So it needs a nice juicy bullish candle to take it higher than all this, confirm a break of a previous support area or resistance area as well, and then we could see price trending to the upside. But because we're trading well below a very strong resistance level in the past, initial breakout here at 0.93500, and we just saw a pullback and the continuation, now we're seeing a bit of a pullback, another consolidation pattern occurring. The one thing you can notice when you see this, you can see that price momentum is still, even though we're in this consolidation, still higher. Okay, so we are squeezing now effectively in between this. There's got to be something that's going to happen soon, and we need to be looking out for that. You can see that we've seen price bounce to the upside, and this movement here is the candle. You can see that we started the day quite negative, and then we've seen price pull it all back again, and this is what's caused that long wick that we're seeing on the daily time frame. This one, see, we started the day really negative, and then during the course of the Asian market, sorry, US session and Asian market, we've seen it pull higher, and that's the candlestick that was formed. So as it stands now, that's the Asian market high, so it needs to be trading well above 0.9210 to look for further extensions to the upside. You can see this is, we've had swings all the way up, and now we in this area where we want to see price pull, break through, and continue trading to the upside. Otherwise, we'll be seeing this as a resistance level, and a failure to trade higher than the Asian market high would just confirm that we could be in for another day of indecision trading again. Okay, so look for a confirmation break to the upside. Ideally, we want to be trading above that 0.9200 mark. Otherwise, it's just going to show that we're in consolidation again, and we should be looking for further downside movement. Last pair of the day is the US dollar against Japanese yen, and I think it's the yen. I think for the last week or so has been taking a real pounding. The US dollar has been rallying against this pair, and you can see that if I just take a projection, we're now trading above the 61.8% fib, above a previous resistance level, and we're now making our way to another level. And well, we tested it during the Asian market, and we've seen a price pullback since. But this pair is just gaining strength. The US dollar is gaining a lot of strength against the Japanese yen at the moment. It's after the intervention. But then you got to look into the fact that a lot of issues are happening in Japan. We will obviously are the latest disaster that occurred just recently, and yeah, it's all reflected in price now, and we're seeing that. So for this pair, we should be looking for no more than more upside. Ideally, we want to see it trading higher than the Asian high that we saw at 83.73. If it fails to do that, then we should be looking for a bit of consolidation pullback. We're seeing one as I speak now, but you can see the price is broken through resistance level, and it's just taken off. And then what's happened, as you can see, has been a very steep trading angle, and what we're seeing now is a pullback. So where to are we going to see this pullback? So that was the breakout. So looking at the 50% at the moment now, playing with 61.8 is gone as low as it's still trading above the 20 period moving average, and as long as it's still trading above 20 period, then we should be just seeing this as a bit of a consolidation, and then possibly another reattempt to the upside. It's got to stay above this area here, the breakout area at 83.15, in order to be still classified as bullish. Otherwise, if it breaks below that, then we're in a consolidation, and then we should be looking for possibly a reattempt at the 82.75 mark, the 82.40 mark, and vice versa to the downside. Okay, so consolidation before we see another push to the upside is what looks likely for this pair as the momentum drives it forward. Hey guys, that's it for today. Hope you have a fantastic day, and make sure that you follow the rules in trading. Keep your trading simple, guys. Just see what the chart tells you and act according to what the chart tells you. Make sure your stops in placement. Be aware that today there is news out. It is a Friday. It is the 1st. So what do we have today? We have non-farm employment change stateside. A lot of news this afternoon, chaps. A lot of news. We've got unemployment rates in euro. We've got manufacturing PMI results at 9:30 for sterling. There's a lot of news coming out today, so be aware of that. It's going to factor. It's going to take its toll on the market today, so be aware of it. All the best. Have a great weekend with family and friends, and most importantly, trade serenely.